Baldwinsville Bees and our community. And I am here tonight with Baldwinsville Bee running back alum and Malik Burks here with me. You and I met through Great Lakes Honda City, where I have been partnered for over a decade with them, and of course many years with Pizza Man. We are here tonight, as we are all year round, to celebrate the Bees, but I had talked to you about the fact that I felt like your career was not given the spotlight enough. There wasn't enough of that moment in the sun that I felt like you deserved. So as we are here in the summer, and it is very hot right now in central, it's actually hotter in central New York than it is in Florida right now. There's multiple states around the country that are not as hot as the Northeast. So 95 degrees as I was pulling in here today. And as we celebrate the heat, we talked to a gentleman who was heating it up in Baldwinsville right down the road. So Malik, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
Doing very well. So I'm going to read off some numbers here, Malik. But before we do that, to the people that I want to do it here for the people that are here. So they're talking right now. To the people that are in the room, can we give a round of applause to Malik Burks and show him some love? We show him some love here. So Malik Burks, Baldwinsville Bee history, over 6,000 yards rushing. And so I'm going to read off some numbers, Malik, while you're at Baldwinsville. 6,117 rushing yards, 53 touchdowns. And we add that to 318 total points scored by you. 210 of those points were scored in your senior season, and you were the top running back rated in the entire state of New York and the third-ranked running back in the entire country at one time in your career. Congratulations on that. Oh, yeah. Top-ranked in New York State and third-ranked in the entire country when you were playing.
It was a while ago. That was a while ago. I did all of that.
You did all of that.
Okay.
Did you know any of that? Did you know that you were top in the country, or top in New York State, third in the country?
Yeah, I remember it was something like that. It's probably, 15, 16 years ago. So,
yeah.
You know, we keep it in the back of our mind. We do remember a little bit of that stuff.
So, I mean, when we look back on that career for you and the time that you had, and you did it right, a couple minutes walking distance from Pizza Man here. What do you remember of your time at Baldwinsville at C.W. Baker? What's if I say C.W. Baker High School, first thing that you think about?
Honestly, it was a great time. It was a great time in my life. I think of Coach San Filippo. I think of a lot of great people I met along the way, lifelong friends, people I still do business with to this day. So BVille's got a special place in my heart.
And you talk about Carl San Filippo. He had coached for over 4 decades here at Baldwinsville. And he has decided to retire, which I sat with him on this stage a couple years ago and couldn't. I said to him, I go, what are you going to, and I said, when are you going to, are you going to retire? People talk about it all the time. What's the thought? He said, Danny, what am I going to do? He's like, this is all I know. This is my life. And obviously he has a scuba diving business and he does a lot for the community. But this, it's his lifeblood. It's what he is. He bleeds football. So sitting on the stage right now, is it weird to you that he will not be on the sidelines coaching this year?
That's going to be a totally different look. I know it's still going to be BVille Bees, and shout out to Tyler Rouse on the head coaching gig.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be a lot different. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with himself all this time, with all this free time. And I'd imagine he's going to be in Florida and hanging out with the grandkids and watching the grandkids get old and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he actually, from sitting on the stage, he actually owes me a bet still.
What's the bet?
When Tyler Rouse was with the Tennessee Titans, I'm a Jaguars fan.
Okay.
And they've upset me this past year, but I am a Jaguars fan. So him and I were talking, and he said, head-to-head, if Tyler Rouse, and he goes, I'm going to pick Tennessee because I'm going to ride with Tyler. He said, if they beat the Jaguars in the first, whatever game is next, if they beat the Jaguars, then you got to buy me and one of his offensive linemen that was sitting up here dinner. And I know that his offensive lineman was going to put it away. I know Coach is going to put it away. And then if I win, Coach has to buy me dinner. Well, he has not forgotten that I won that head-to-head bet. The Jaguars beat the Titans. And so Coach Sanfilippo, I get to pick the place, I get to pick my meal, and he is covering everything.
Well, we might have to add me to that, too.
Okay.
You hear that, Coach?
So, and I'm actually tagging Coach Sanfilippo right now in all this so that he could see it. But Coach, awesome person to me in my life. Will always respect and appreciate Coach Sanfilippo. But yes, we did have a bet, and he does know that I have come to collect, and he is going to honor that bet.
I'd imagine he's not going to forget about you.
No.
He's a stand-up guy. He'll come through.
Now, so when I say Coach Carl Sanfilippo, first thing that comes to your mind?
You're going to laugh because I sat around and thought about it, right?
Yeah.
That man called me Alice.
Called you Alice?
He called me Alice.
Okay.
Until I was a senior in high school.
Okay.
I had to earn it.
You had to earn being called Malik?
Or Burks.
Okay.
He called me Alice the whole time.
Now, did he ever tell you why he referred to you as Alice? Just to get under your skin, or?
No, because, you know, I was a pretty boy, you know what I mean? I had the gloves, I had the swagger on the field.
Okay.
Coach was old school. He wasn't really with any of that extra flashy stuff, you know? So he used to call me Alice because I used to like to look good while I was on the field too.
Okay. So why did he finally start calling you by your name?
Well, I think I was about that time to where, you know, I earned the respect
Okay.
of being called Malik or Burks, one of the two.
So you feel like you earned it as a senior on the field?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, he always showed me a lot of respect throughout my time while I was at BVille. I'm not gonna say that, but
yeah,
I remember he called me Alice all the time.
All the time. Now, did he go after? Did he say it's anything to anybody else, or was it
He
just
had colorful names for all types of people?
Okay, all right. But he called you Alice because he thought you were a pretty boy.
Yeah, he was a prima donna.
All right. So, did you ever get less flashy? Did you ever? No.
No.
So every season it was
Every
better
season
gloves,
we were-
better
oh,
everything.
Yeah. And honestly, he was so old school. He didn't really want you wearing, you know, the one sleeve this color, one sleeve that color, and like we really had to work on this guy.
Okay.
Now I used to go to games. A couple years ago, I went to a game, and I saw they scored touchdowns and they had music and flashing lights and all this jazz, and
Yeah.
I was wondering where I was because this is the same man that didn't want a boombox. That's how old. I'm not that old, but he didn't want a boombox
At the game.
in the locker room.
Okay.
So, you know, it's funny to see, and it's great for him from where he's come to where he's at now to see, you know, he's gonna retire and live the life.
Did you mess with him at all when you heard the music at the game and say, "That's some good music, Alice"? Did you do that to him?
No,
No.
I wasn't messing with him like that.
So I mean, but I feel like he's kind of larger than life. Like as nice as he is and as kind as he's been to myself and my family,
Yep.
I still feel like I'd rather have Sanfilippo on my team than not on my team.
100%. That's the guy you can go down a dark alley with.
Okay.
You know, you're not afraid. I'm not gonna say too much, but I met an old friend of his that went to SU with him.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know if anybody knows about coaching his SU days, but he'd probably be mad if I talked about it on camera, but I heard about him, so I know it's real.
Well, and the thing about coaches, I mean, he's an old Italian.
Right.
So, I tell people all the time, one of the best stereotypes, if not the best stereotype.
He's Sicilian.
Right.
And he'll let you know it too.
And one of the best stereotypes to have in this world is to be Italian.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be romantic, good at dancing, good with making food, and we're supposed to be the people that you don't mess with. You're either in the family or you're not in the family.
I'd like to see him dance.
You ever see Coach Sanfilippo dance?
I've never seen him dance.
You never saw him break it down in the
No.
locker room a little bit?
No.
You never got him? What's the one thing that your team, when you were at BVille, what's one thing that you got coached to do in your time playing football that like he didn't typically do? What's that one like atypical Sanfilippo moment that you have? He's gonna kill me because he's gonna be like, Dan, you talked about me the whole time.
I mean, honestly, it was the extra stuff. Like, I'm telling you, he didn't want to wear. I used to have the one sleeve red, one sleeve black, white sleeve, red sleeve, this sleeve on the leg, and he used to want us to wear black cleats, like black cleats. Everybody looked the same, not individualized. Like we were swagged out on the field that year.
Was there anybody else like you that went against the norm?
Oh yeah, we had some other guys on the team that wanted to express themselves a little bit.
Who else had the swag? Who else did it?
I'm not gonna lie, Nico Manning has some swag.
Okay.
Nico Manning has some swag. He has some flavor. He has some swag on the field.
Okay.
Yep.
So he had some. Anybody else that sticks out?
My boy Jed had some swag too.
Okay.
Jed Clouston.
Okay. I know. I feel like you're probably gonna pick yourself, but if you had to honestly choose whose swag was the best.
Oh, come on. It was mine. It was mine.
But now, what made you do the sleeves the way that you like? What made you want to have different color sleeves and?
I think I probably saw it somewhere in college.
Okay.
College football or in the NFL.
Because nowadays everybody's about that.
Oh yeah.
But back then it was more atypical to be different than the norm.
I was also a big Deion Sanders fan too, so he was always drippy too. You know what I mean? He had the towel.
I will never forget my mom when he was on the Cowboys. He's wearing his gray pants, and I'm watching the game, and I grew up watching the Cowboys, and Jaguars are my favorite team, Cowboys are my second. And so I'm watching the Cowboys on TV. I'll never forget this my whole life. My mom walked by the TV, and she goes, I don't really like to watch football, but she goes, that man Deion, she goes, and then she walked away. And so I still think about that, Mom, to this day. Whenever somebody says Deion Sanders, that's what I think about, is my mom walking by the TV. But he was doing it, but again, back then in the NFL, there was no Chad Ochocinco, there was no Terrell Owens, there was no Plaxico Burress, there was no Antonio Brown, there's nobody like that. So...
Yeah, Randy Moss too, though.
Yeah.
I was a big Randy Moss fan too.
But Deion was kind of just like the different color, wearing the bandana, the different color bandanas, wanting to have his jewelry on. Like he was the one that was standing out back then.
He was fly.
So what drew you to him? You just liked his style?
I love the style.
Okay.
And to be quite honest, I am not a Cowboy fan.
Okay. Who do you like? Who's your team?
I'm a Rams fan.
How?
Eric Dickerson.
Okay, all right.
Eric Dickerson. He was fly too. I didn't really like the neck roll thing, but he had the visor. He had the big mouthpiece that covers the lips like everybody wears now. He had the half sleeves. He had the gloves on. So Eric Dickerson was there. It was a few guys that inspired me to be like that too.
I was gonna say, when you look at your style, who would you liken your style to?
Marshall Faulk.
It's a good guy to pick. Another Ram.
Yep, Marshall Faulk. They were the greatest show on turf when I was a young man. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what got me into that team there.
Well, and another guy who sat here on the stage with me, John Flannery, was on that greatest show on turf team. He was the center. And then, of course, Roland Williams, who played at SU, was the tight end.
Right.
So, but that team, Marshall Faulk back then, he was the blocking running back, get out in the field, catch the ball, running back.
Yep.
He was the guy that was like, there's 1 to 3 of them in the NFL, and he happens to be one of those guys. Again, he was someone in the game. Like Deion was the pioneer of the swag, and then Marshall was the pioneer of being like the every down, use me 40, 50 times a game running back.
100%. Never coming off the field, Mr. Reliable. You know he's going to come through.
So what is it about Marshall Faulk's game that you felt like you mirrored?
Just the patience. He had a lot of vision.
Okay.
He hit the hole. He had good speed. He could take it from the 20 on the other side and still score a touchdown.
So you feel like when you looked at his game and that patience that he had, the offensive line, I mean, we know that BVille runs the ball. Patience can't happen if you don't have someone blocking for you.
That too.
So what would you say about your line?
One more time?
About your offensive line.
Oh, my offensive line was great. I always praise them throughout the season too. I played with a guy that went to Cuse by the name of Nick Robinson. Shout out to Nick.
Yeah.
But I had some big boys in front of me, taking care of what needed to be done, and I was setting them up to be in the right places.
And you talk about Nick Robinson, who's also been on the show. One of the few guys that Syracuse recruited locally over with over a decade of time. I mean, now Fran is doing it, but before that, it was slim to none. So when you saw Nick go on to Syracuse, what did that mean to you, having be his teammate?
Oh, I mean, honestly, anytime I see somebody get some success, I'm just happy for you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter whether you're my teammate, whether you weren't, but him being my teammate and me watching him grow from, because he was a couple years younger than I was. So me watching him be the 7th, 8th grader that used to work out with us when I was a sophomore, and I had just came to BVille, because I came to BVille when I was a freshman. So he was a few years younger than me when I got here. So, but you know, we watched him, and he was just about the same size. Him and another kid were just about the same size the whole way through. And then, you know, he goes to college, and it's like, oh, that was exactly what was supposed to happen.
Yeah, and it's awesome to see his success and see the success of the offensive line. You were obviously on the right team in high school and Central and upstate New York, because running the ball is 90% of the game, 95% of the game. So when you came to BVille as a freshman, did you know what they did?
So, I came from a city school, and my uncle Ahmad, he played running back here at BVille a few years before I did. So, and I knew they were going to run the rock.
Yeah.
I knew there was a couple other guys around the area, and there's some schools that I could have went to, but I knew the best opportunity for me to be able to run the rock was here in BVille.
Yeah.
So it was something that I knew what I was getting into, and I knew coach was going to give me the ball.
So when you're in an offense like that, and you know that they're going to be leaning on you so much, I mean, obviously you like it, but how did you train your body to handle it? To handle the fact that, you know, it's not like run, break, or run, break. Is that run, pass, or pass, run? It was like run, maybe pass, run. So, I mean, for you, your body's got to handle a lot more hits than if you were on a different team.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, we worked out a lot. I had a guy by the name of Pete Moore, who I used to work out with when I was in high school.
I love Pete Moore. Still doing his thing.
Pete's a goat in the area, so if you know who Pete is, you know. Yeah. But yeah, Pete. I used to travel. When we didn't have workouts here at BVille, I'd travel over to go work out with Pete, and he would put me through some pretty gruesome workouts. But I remember at first I wasn't really interested in working out, which was the sad part. And I remember Coach kind of yelled at me because I didn't work out as much as he would have liked, and he didn't think I was gonna have a good season my junior year, but I ended up having an all right season.
So Coach, you didn't like working out in the beginning.
Dan, I was a young 15, 16-year-old kid at some point that had other things in mind on the off season. So.
Yeah. I'm tagging Pete Moore right now, so that Pete can know that we send him our love.
Yes.
So you didn't really like doing it. You didn't like necessarily getting out there in the gym every single day. But how did Pete help you become the player that you were?
So I had to drive to him, and I knew. So Pete also trained or coached my two aunts in track and field. So. Yeah. I already knew about it, but when I was going out to Pete, I knew Pete was doing this all out of love. And the one thing I didn't want to do is let Pete down. Yeah. I didn't want Pete to show up at wherever he told me to be and me be late, because Pete was doing this for me. He wasn't doing this for any money. My mom didn't pay him for anything, and I knew that this was something that would be costly if I had to. What was that one strength and motion play? That was like that stuff costs money. You know what I mean? And my mom was a single mother, and she, not to say that she couldn't afford it, but it was an extra strain on her. But to have Pete to be able to be there, someone who actually cared about me and cared about my success more off the field than on the field, and there to kind of push me, I just didn't want to let the man down. So that was really my thing with him.
How did you first connect with him? How did you first meet him?
I was probably 7, 8 years old, and one of my aunts over there, she ran track and field, and I was out there just watching her run. And she had a friend that's actually one of my best friends, sister or brother, excuse me. And we would be out there just kind of messing around, throwing the football, and then he'd be like, "Yo, I want to see you guys run." and you're gonna get timed. So that was kind of the start of it. And then after that, once I got older, and then football kind of got a little bit more serious for me, we then started to go see Pete, and Pete used to get me ready. And I'm telling you, he used to put us through some gruesome workouts. I remember one time, shout out to Tyvon Branch. He'd come home in the summertime and we'd work out, and he brought this guy Darius Butler with him. He played for the Colts and the Patriots. And we're running up the stairs. We're doing the stadium steps up at CNS's field, right?
Yeah.
And we get through the workout and whatnot, and Darius says, "I'm never coming back here to work out again."
Yeah.
And the guy's in the NFL, so that's a lot to say about his workouts and what Pete had going on. You know what I mean?
All I can say is to the gentleman that just walked in with a Raptors hat on, you're not alone. So
that's my guy, Josh.
Yeah. So yeah, good to meet you, man. How are you? Nice to meet you, Dan Tortora. So, are you a Raptor fan? You just wearing it because you like the hat?
Yeah, it probably just matched the fit. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, so many people wear Raptors gear because they just like the way it looks.
They got good colors.
Or they like the OVO collection or something, whatever that may be.
Or that.
Yeah.
They got good colors.
I'm actually a Raptor fan since they came out in '95. So from the beginning of the beginning, got to see them win a championship. I wanted my own team. I love Damon Stoudemire.
Okay.
So I just kind of fell in love with the team and his game at the same time. And then I was told that they would never win a championship. I was an idiot for liking the only team that didn't play in America. And then they won in 2019, and I'm still waiting for apology letters, flowers, chocolate, all that stuff. But I see people all the time wearing Raptor stuff now, and I know it's because they just like the fit. They like the way it looks.
The colors look good. I like that hat. It's got the cream.
And that's a throwback.
It's got the purple.
That's a throwback when the jersey used to have the whole Raptor on it. That was just like that.
Yeah, it's real subtle.
Yeah, see, people don't understand, like, way before Drake, the Raptors had, like, the best, to me, they had the best jerseys in the country before they did anything to them with, like, the gold and black and all that. Or the
colorways look good.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing now with everything too now, because everything's now, everybody's about fashion now. So now they're getting creative with the colorways.
You know, I should have worn my championship hat here tonight.
You should have.
I should have worn my 2019, so it would have been nice. But I can appreciate it. It always makes me feel good in Central New York when I see Toronto Raptors, which they're not that far away.
Sadly, I don't watch much. I do watch the finals.
Okay, you watched last night?
I did watch that,
and Halliburton going out with a torn Achilles.
My heart's out to that man. I wish you a speedy recovery, but that's a sad thing. You never want to see anybody or a game affected by a ref or an injury.
Yeah.
So
did you realize last night during the game that when the Pacers had a foul that helped them, they would replay the foul on ABC?
No.
But when the Thunder had a foul that was in their favor, they wouldn't replay it.
I didn't even notice that.
Multiple times. I put it on social media, and there was some response to it. I was like, do you realize, like, if there's a questionable call that goes in the Pacers' favor, they showed it. If it was questionable in favor of the Thunder, they didn't show it, and they didn't talk about it.
I never noticed that.
Not that the Thunder weren't the better team last night, because they scored it well and they did what they wanted to do, but I would have had anticipated if Halliburton had stayed healthy through the whole game, and I don't think they would have had the third quarter that they had. I don't think they would have turned the ball over 3 times as much, and I think the game would have probably been closer, maybe a few possessions. I feel like we could have had overtime if we had full go against full go.
I think so too.
So, because people have to understand about Halliburton, it's not just that he can score, he likes to dish the ball. So not having him on the court means that he's not finding other guys, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was finding, like, penetrate and dish. That's how they were finding Jalen Williams and other guys in Dort on the team, and Halliburton, being one of the guys that dishes, wasn't out there. So as much as he wasn't there to score, he also wasn't there to be a decoy or to facilitate.
Right. I mean, he's bigger than just a scorer, right? You know what I mean? So you gotta. There's a lot of aspect that goes along with somebody being on the court or on the field, and even if they're playing well or they're not playing well, they're having some kind of effect on the basketball game or the game.
Yeah. So sad to not see him out there. Congrats to the Thunder though on winning the championship. So getting back to your time at BVille, once again, 6,117 yards. Share with everybody what you did your senior season.
Senior year was just crazy. It was to go back on it, it was a lot of scoring. It was a lot of winning. It was a lot of, and honestly, we really didn't. We got through people pretty well. It wasn't anything too arduous. You know what I mean? Like we had one of my favorite games was the Liverpool game because, throughout my BVille career, they were a better squad. But it was nice because they had this kid Greg Bell. He was another good running back in the area at the time, and it was like a kind of head-to-head thing. But I was so angry that it kept being about me and him that it wasn't more about my squad. So that game we had an overflow of people. There was people standing on the field. It was just
Were you home or away?
We were home.
You're home.
We were home. It was senior year. It was nice outside. So and that wasn't even one of my better games. I probably only had about 250.
Not one of your better games.
That wasn't even one of my
better games.
It was a cool
250.
It was a cool 250.
Yeah.
They made me earn it, though. I will say that. But senior year was great. CBA, that was another game. So there was only 2 games I played. So I never played a whole game my senior year. There was only 2 games I played my whole season.
I think we talked about that. They're like, what could your numbers have been if you played the whole
game?
game?
If I would have played a whole game, who knows? Because coach used to take me out because he didn't want. It was already bad. It was after halftime. It was already bad. He let me get in for a little bit.
Yeah.
But after that, so Liverpool and CBA were the only 2 games that I played a full game in my whole senior year.
Okay.
And the CBA game was great because they just got that new field. It was on TV. They were naming it after whoever they named it after. So it was time to get it on. Like I wanted to just ruin that whole night for CBA, and that's what happened.
So, do you remember? I love that I could still feel like that energy coming off that heat of playing that game. Yeah. So of all the teams, I know you said Liverpool was a big one, and obviously they're not that far away. But nowadays we hear about BVille CNS, BVille Liverpool. But we know CBA has been really, really good. Recent history here, have won a state title, not just a sectional title, but a state title in 2021, 2023, 2024. So if you were playing right now, who would be the team that you would be circling the most in today's football in Central New York?
It'd be CBA. Okay. I mean, they've been winning them.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to play. That's why I want to beat.
All right. Do you remember how many yards you had as a senior?
As a senior?
Yeah.
It was over 3,000 yards, probably about 40 touchdowns, something like that.
So the majority of your numbers that we read, like half of what you did in a career was in that one season.
Oh, yeah. I think I did like 1,200 yards my sophomore year, like 1,700 yards my senior year. And then I had this goal. I was like, I'm going to get 2,500 yards my senior year.
And you got over 2,500,
yep.
40 touchdowns.
Yep.
Insane.
It was crazy.
I mean, when you sit back and you look at it now and just think about the amount of work that goes into that, do you get tired just thinking about 3,000 yards and 40 touchdowns?
So I'm not that old, but I feel the football.
Yeah, how old are you right now?
I'll be 33 next month.
Oh yeah, you're not old enough.
I'm not old, but boy, I played 20 years of football.
So I'm in my 30s. So I'm a peaceful man. You know what a doctor said to me recently?
What did he say?
He said, your knee looks good for a guy your age. I almost punched him in the throat. I said, I'm in my 30s. This dude is like old enough to maybe be definitely my dad, maybe my granddad.
Yeah. So yes, thinking about doing all of that. Now I still work out, but thinking about a 2-day sounds crazy. Somebody asked me to play semi-pro.
Yeah.
Semi-pro. I said, listen, I might have a series in me. A series, that's about it.
Yeah.
Not a game, a series.
Okay. Maybe we just save you for the championship game and let you run it.
Last play. Last play, game on the line.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out there. I might pull a hammy or something like that after the fact, but my hammies are good. I'm still in the gym. But no, if I don't know what it'd be like to be going through another 2 days for 2 weeks.
So seeing that Tyler Rouse, also BVille, is the head coach now,
Yep.
and having that running back brotherhood. I know you said shout out to him earlier, but what are your thoughts on him taking over?
I love it. I love it. It's kind of bittersweet, right? Because we're watching a goat kind of end his, but
Yeah.
you know, it was great to have somebody come from his tutelage to be able to take over.
Yeah.
And he's got the BVille blood. You know what I mean? He didn't bring an outsider in, and not to mention, what a better candidate. You know what I mean? Like, of course, I would love to be able to be in the mix and be able to help, but kind of the way my life is set up now, it doesn't provide me the ability. But for a person that deserves it, I love it, and we'll probably see a little twist to the football and the wrinkle and the plays being called, but we'll probably still see the same stuff.
Yeah. And do you think that we're going to see more passing?
I think we're gonna Tyler. I think Tyler's gonna pass the ball a little bit more.
All right. Okay.
I love to run the ball though.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously we running the ball, we controlling the game a little bit more, right? But I think Tyler's gonna throw the rock a little bit.
You cannot demoralize your opponent more than when you slowly, methodically, systematically back them into their own end zone by running the ball
And you
at
can't
their
do
throat.
anything about it. You can't stop it. It's like men amongst boys. You know what I mean?
It's humiliating, it's frustrating, and it's like, I mean, think about it. Think about the NFL right now. The Green Bay Packers put together a rule change and tried to get the NFL to accept that they would get rid of the tush push because nobody can stop Philadelphia. So they legitimately put this together, allegedly led by the Packers, and they did not pass it because they needed a certain amount of votes and they didn't get to what they needed, which I think it was 24. But there was enough teams that supported the Eagles, the Jaguars being one of them. But they pushed back on this. So think about that. Nobody can stop. We talk about running the ball and how you can't stop it. No one does it better than Philadelphia. Nobody pushes the ball forward better than them. Fourth down's automatic. Short yardage is automatic. Goal line is automatic. To the point where you have NFL franchises trying to block the ability to do it. Because they can't stop it on the field, they try to stop it with paper.
You know exactly what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And that's just straight up mono against Imano. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we got going on. It's 6 inches. Yeah. You know the play. Stop it. You can't stop it. I love it. Keep running it.
I mean, but what does that say to you that the NFL can't stop it on the field, so they tried to stop it with a pen and a piece of paper?
Hey, my opinion is small in it. I don't like that fact that they tried to stop it, but I'm glad that it's still there. That's all.
I'm glad that enough of the NFL was like, hey. And you know what? It's like Baltimore was against it, and they know how to run the ball. Philly was against it. Jacksonville doesn't get the credit. Trevor Lawrence doesn't get the credit that he can actually pull off some things with his legs, and he likes to jump and lay out. So it's just funny to look at the teams that fought to keep it, and what does that say about maybe what they're going to be this season? Maybe they're going to try and run the ball a little bit more. Maybe they'll have different sets or whatnot. But like we talked about, being at BVille, it was about running the rock. Did you ever in a game, I know you said you only played your senior season 2 full games, did you ever have a moment, honestly, where you were tired? Where it was like San Filippo looked at you and you're like, Coach, we just ran the ball 27 times. Like, I need a break on the 28th play.
Yes, but I still wanted the ball.
Yeah.
I remember this time we were playing in the dome, and I had a few good runs, and then something it was a long time ago, so I ended up getting caught in like inside the 10, something like that, and I ended up we call a timeout, and he calls the play.
Yeah.
And he called a play that didn't go to me, and I remember being so intense in the moment that I dropped an F-bomb, and he just looked at me like, if he could have just took his hands and strangled me at the time, he would have. Yeah. But I said, my bad, coach. I just wanted to finish the drive out. Yeah. But yeah, so yes, there were times where I was tired.
Yeah.
But every time I was tired, I still wanted the ball.
So when you reflect back on your time at BVille, do you have a favorite moment?
My favorite moment was not to harp on the CBA thing, but we played them twice that year. We played them once at their house,
Yeah.
and then we played them a second time in the section championship.
Okay.
So the section the section championship meant a lot more because first of all it was Coach's 25th year, right? My senior year was his 25th year, and I forget the number, but it had to have been like 20 years since he had went to a section championship, and I think he lost that game to a field goal.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was able to get him his first one in 20 years on his 25th, like I felt like that was a special thing for me.
And when you reflect on that with your teammates, do you have those reminiscent moments? Do you have group chats? Do you have anybody that you still get together with and talk about this stuff to?
So a lot of the times, I do talk to people a lot.
I lost you for a second.
Yeah, I do. I talk to people often. Anytime, so I do come out to BVille a lot. I'm always at various restaurants around here. So anytime I am around, people do like to chit chat and talk about certain things. Sometimes people tell me about stuff that I totally forgot that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah,
They remember your career more than you do.
They do.
It's crazy.
They do. And honestly, aside from this, I probably never really talk about it much unless we've had that moment and connected. It's been a while, but yeah.
Well, and I mean, when you have this time and you have, the reflection, like you said, you don't talk too much about it, but when you do reflect, you got a little son. What's his name?
Malik.
And
Juju.
So you got Juju here, and so do you sit with Juju? How old's Juju again?
9.
Okay. My guess was 8 in my brain. So when was his birthday?
May 2nd.
Okay. So he just turned 9.
Yep.
So 9 years old, you got Juju with you. Do you ever pick him up and sit with him and say, hey man, like, Daddy's going to talk to you a little bit about history. Do you ever do that with him?
So I remember when Juju first started playing football, and I still got my highlight tape.
Yeah.
And I pull it out and show it to him. I'm all excited because he's all starting to play football and he's gearing up towards that, and he's all excited.
Yeah.
Right. So I show him. I pull out my phone to show him the video. He said, "Dad, this video looks old." He goes, "Dad, this video looks old. What was this, in the 1990s?" So
Yeah.
Juju likes the bus on me, but
Okay.
he's interested, but he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He kind of doesn't know exactly who I am in that realm there.
Okay.
But yeah, he knows I was good, and everybody always talks to him on the football field about me and stuff like that.
So he
knows
said
about
to you,
me.
when you pulled out the film, he said, Daddy, this looks old.
This looks old.
That was his response to you.
Yeah, he said this looks old.
Were you mad?
It kind of cinched me a little bit. That was like the whole 1900s comment when he told me how. He's like, Dad, you were born in the 1900s. I'm like, bro, I'm not that old.
Right. And by the way, I just need to say this and get it out there. Like those 80s babies, like we know good music, we
Right.
know good movies.
Right.
Like, by the way, and this is crazy, we were talking about Back to the Future on the show today. So my birthday is October 21st, and I was born in 1985.
Okay.
In Back to the Future, in the second one, they go to the future to 2015. They go to October 21st, 2015. And so they made these shirts on the 30-year anniversary and said, where were you? I said, well, I was being born, and then I was celebrating my third. So every time they celebrate an anniversary of Back to the Future, it's on my
That's
birthday.
on your birthday.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So, I mean, when people say you're old, I'm like, hey, listen, I got Back to the Future, I got hoverboards, I got Marty McFly.
Listen,
I'll take
honestly, I'm glad I was raised in the time that I was raised and around the men that I was around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a good time. It was a good time. I don't know what I wouldn't want to be raised around.
It's
right
hard now.
It's different.
It's definitely hard now.
Even as a parent, it's different. Trying to tell him to do different things and you know, he's got these classmates that are teaching him this thing and that thing, and we got this V-Bucks and Robux and all this craziness.
You got to unteach your kids. You can't just teach them every day. You got to unteach them and teach them.
You got to unteach them and teach them.
all
it's
the time.
constant redirection.
Yeah, which is
Constant.
because it's like, well, this teacher said this, well, my classmate said this, well, this is what this person's dad does.
Well, I love that he thinks that whatever I say is Bible. So
Okay.
at least for now, right? Like
So he trusts you.
If I tell him the sky is purple, he'll believe me.
So he does. Why are yeah? You're just you're his idol. You're the guy that you're his guy.
I'm his guy. I'm his guy. I mean, literally everything we did ever since he was a kid, ever since he came out the womb, I spent a lot of time with that kid. We go garden. We're in the garden planting flowers and vegetables and cutting grass and shoveling and doing this and doing that.
Yeah.
Going to the park. Not to say that he doesn't spend much time with mom, because he does, but I mean, he's a man's man.
So, what made you want to name him Junior?
I was young and I was happy. It was like, that's my son. It was the first shot. I had a son, so it was just like.
How old were you?
I was going on 24.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because you said you're 33 now.
I'll be 33. So yeah, so I was I was 23 at the time, going on 24. So, you know, it was my first baby and it was a boy. I was like, yo, I hit the lottery. We can stop here now.
And you just thought, I want to give him my name.
I gotta give him my name. A couple different names came up. It was like Royal and King. We wanted to name him something, you know, gracious.
Yeah.
And my name is King in Arabic, so I was like, let's just name him after me.
So you got Malik Jr., but do people call him Malik? Do they call him Juju? Do they call him Junior? What do they call him?
So if you know him, you can call him Juju. But if you don't know him, you gotta call him Malik. But I don't like when people call him Malik, because then I think you're still talking to me. Yeah. It's kind of weird, because I don't call him Malik at all. I probably only called him Malik a few times.
If he gets in trouble, if he just gets on your nerves, what do you call him? Because my thing is, if I heard Daniel Michael from either one of my parents, I get in trouble a lot. But if I talk back or something, if I heard my middle name, then that's how I knew.
I normally it'll either be a look or it's just a stern Juju.
Okay, so it's still Juju. It's just a different way of saying Juju.
Yeah,
just like Kevin
more
Hart
stern.
said, there's levels
It's
how you
levels.
say words. There's
it's
levels. Okay.
Because he's got a few different nicknames. I call him a couple different things, but
okay.
It's a stern one,
Okay.
or it's some eyes. I'm not really a yeller.
Okay.
So if he makes me yell, he really, really earned it.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, they do say that if you yell all the time, it loses its effect.
He's a really good kid. He's a really good kid. Obviously, he's a kid. He's a boy.
Yeah.
He has his moments. Yeah. But I really don't. There's not times where I have to really get on him too much.
So, if Juju came to you and said, I want to play football like you did, like I want to do this thing, I want to commit to this thing, have you talked to him about it? Has he ever said anything to you about it?
So right now, I just want to keep the fun in it. You know what I mean? So when we talk about football, we don't talk about wins or losses. We talk about growth. We talk about perseverance. We talk about adversity. We talk about certain situations that can be applied to life. Because for me, I got way more out of football than the accolades and the awards and all that. That's great. And to be looked at and noticed and appreciated and stuff, that's cool. But the way my life is set up, I wouldn't have been not to say I wouldn't have been anything, but I wouldn't have been the guy I am today if it wasn't for football. I've gotten so much out of football, and I try to pass that along to my son. Like, yes, we're going to have fun. Yes, it sucks to lose. Yes, it's great to win. Yeah. But there's a lot of different intricacies within this game, within the white lines, that you'll be able to take away from and be able to apply to your life and be able to be successful.
So what are some of those things beyond the wins and losses that you can say that you've honestly taken with you from football that you feel like are the best lessons?
So, I mean, obviously post-football, right, I'm not that guy anymore. Yeah. You know what I mean? So now I'm this quote-unquote regular man. Now I got to find my identity throughout life and what I'm going to do is career-wise and how I'm going to make money and such, right? So if I wanted to be okay with being okay, then I would have just found me a regular job and would have just been fine. But I think the fun is always in the challenge, right?
Yeah.
So not having it, but going to try to get it, not getting it given, but earning it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
all of that came from football. You know what I mean? In order to be able to run 3,000 yards, you got to go to the gym. You got to go work out in the gym. There's nobody that's going to be able to do. And if you do, God bless you. But there's nobody there that's going to be able to do that just off of pure athleticism and God-given talent. You got to be able to work. You got to have something and be able to work at it too, and have some work ethic. You know, one of my favorite rappers said, "Hard work beats talent if talent don't work hard." So that's a life.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, you and I met at Great Lakes Honda City. You're in sales over there now.
Yep.
And doing your thing there, and I've worked with them for many years. What challenges you there? You talk about being a football player and then life after football. And the thing is, no matter how good of a player you are, no matter what sport you play, there is life after. And that next chapter cannot be, oh, remember when. That next chapter for you has to be about enjoying the present, enjoying the future, enjoying what's to come. So what does Great Lakes Honda City do to challenge you? What does sales do to challenge you? And when you get up and you go to work, because that's how I met you, that's how you and I interacted, and that was my first impression of you. Mine was not with you on the football field, mine was with you in your chapter right now. So what is it about this chapter that challenges you that you enjoy?
Well, like you said, I never wanted to be a used to, you know what I mean? Talking about something that I was doing a long time ago. You know, we could have a moment and talk about the cool things that we did, but I think the challenges are, you know, when people come in a dealership, the first thing they're thinking is I'm this slime ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and for lack of a better term. So, you know, when you come in, we got this stigma of a car salesman or a car dealership. And the challenge is getting this person to know that I'm Malik, I'm professional, I have all of the information that you're looking for. I can answer all your questions every which way. I've been doing this for about 5 years now, so there's any scenario and situation and troubleshooting idea, I pretty much got it. I can figure it out for you. But the challenge is letting them know that I'm a trustworthy person, because nobody wants to buy anything from somebody that's not trustworthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or is knowledgeable about the product. So at least I'm not. So that's a challenge within itself. So I would say that trying to make sure that I build the rapport with somebody and making sure that, you know, we build a connection before, you know, you go and spend $50,000 on a car.
What is it about you? Like, what are your pillars when we look at your foundation? What's consistent with you when you were training for football? Consistent with you when you're gaining knowledge and wisdom and selling cars? What are those consistent foundational pillars of your life that truly describes Malik Burks?
I always try to do the same things, right? Not get too far out of whack. Try to keep the same routine.
Yeah.
So routine and structure is really good for me, and it helps me thrive. So I would say, you know, making sure that I keep it simple, not too complicated, and make sure that I'm always in a good headspace. I think energy is everything, right? So, you know, I create a safe space for myself to be able to go out in the world every day and have a good attitude and be able to wear a smile and be able to shake people's hand and look them in the eye and have a good name. You know what I mean? I've done lots of different things throughout my life. You know what I'm saying? I've made some good decisions, I've made some bad decisions, but I think we could go anywhere in Syracuse and somebody's gonna say that Malik, he's a good guy. You know what I mean?
And for you, like you said, I mean, you are who you are consistently. And they say, like, the first time you do something, it might be a coincidence, might be a mistake. Second time, it's a habit. Third time, it's a lifestyle. So good, bad, or indifferent, you are what you are most of the time. And you said, you know, you believe you could go anywhere and somebody would say, hey, Malik's a good guy. Why is it so important for you to not sell based on lies and changing word. Like, people can manipulate numbers. People can manipulate statements. People can make things sound good that sound horrible. There's there's a way of using information where you can pretty much flip almost any negative, make it sound positive, flip any positive, make it sound negative. Why do you think that telling the truth is the right thing? Why do you believe that it is the right way to go? Like, if you see people that are selling cars and you see that they're doing it lying, cheating, stealing, cutting corners, and maybe they have 5 more sales than you that day, why do you not go in their direction and stay in yours?
So when I first got into business, I had a sales manager ask me if I wanted to do this a long time. He said, if you want to do this a long time, you got to follow up with your people. You got to make sure they're good. You got to make sure you treat them well. You got to make sure they feel like they had a good experience. If you don't want to do this a long time, make all the money that you can off this person, and you'll never see them again. So why would I want to not do right by you when you have family and friends who also need cars? They drive cars too. Yeah. So if you told someone you had, and everybody needs a mechanic, everybody needs a lawyer, and everybody needs a car guy. Those are the 3 things that everybody pretty much needs in a time of need, right? So if you're good and you're good with people and you're honest, you're able to do this. And people are going to come back and come back and come back and come back. And there's times where there's times I'll take the day off to go golfing.
Yeah.
And people will call me randomly and want to buy a car. People will come in often, randomly, like I'm just sitting around, and they'll want to buy a car. So that's a testament to what I've done and my selling style and the way I've gone about my profession.
Well, and I can say that meeting you when I had to renew my lease and figure out what I was going to do and what vehicle I was going to have, the thing that I remember, there's 2 things I remember about you, first impression. 1, you were flexible to making sure that we worked something out and scheduled something, so you weren't like, this is me and I'm going to pretend that I'm busy all the time, and like you have to work within my confines. You were flexible and you talked about your son. Those are the 2 things that I remember. Is like, you're like, I'm here for you, we'll work it out, we'll figure it out, let me know when you're available, and you tried to work out a time that worked for me, and you talked about your son.
Yeah, so
that's what stuck out.
So, that's important to me. So, a lot of people don't have time. Some people don't have time to be able to sit in there for an hour or 2, or even a half hour. They don't have time for that sometimes. So I understand. Let me collect all the information I can. We'll figure it out. We both have cell phones, so as long as you answer, we'll figure it out. I know, and that's the beauty of this thing. Like, there's never, ever, ever the same scenario.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Ever. So all day, throughout the day, it's different things in different ways. And honestly, this being in sales has taught me more about myself too. Even on top of the football thing. But football prepared me to be able to have the mindset to be able to get in this thing to where, I'm motivated for 1, and for 2, I'm not taking no for an answer in a good way. Yeah. And then 3, I just won't stop.
So there's relationship builders and there's transactional people. You just talked all about relationships. You can either meet somebody once, screw them over and try and get what you can, transactionally, or you can build a relationship for a lifetime and know that that's a bridge that you can always go back to. So relationship versus transactional, what is your cautionary tale to today's world that sometimes seems to lean on the transactional, get what I can at any cost?
People are so caught up in self-preservation. It's sad. You know what I mean? I know, and not to get too much into it and get into religion, but I'm protected in such a amazing way. Like, whatever he's got for me, he's got for me. It's gonna be here. You know what I mean? So for me, my faith is so strong in knowing that I'm gonna have the bread to eat at the end of the night or tomorrow when I wake up. So I'm good to people. You know what I mean? A long time ago, someone told me, Malik, you never know. When I was in high school, I had a friend. He told me, Malik, you never know what anybody's going through, right? No matter what they do to you, just make sure you don't do anything bad back to them. And not to say that I've listened to that, but I remember that. And ever since I've had my son, I've tried to I've made a valiant effort into trying to become a better person. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people have lost, sense in where we're at and caring for other folks and making sure the neighbor is good. You know what I'm saying?
Well, now, my dad said something going off of what you said. He said, people are going to say whatever they want to say about you. They're going to do whatever they want to do toward you. Don't ever give them a reason.
100%.
He's like, they're gonna do. You can't control what they say and do, but don't ever give them a reason to be like, oh well, I did this because this person said this, or they were negative this way, or they were late, or they were disrespectful. He said people will do whatever they want to do, say whatever they want to say. Never ever give them a reason to be right about it.
100%.
Which is what you
I agree
said.
with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah, me too. And Dad just got his new 2025 Ridgeline. It's like this, like powder. It's not like a North Carolina blue. It's like a different.
It's the diffused blue. It's the diffused sky blue.
And it's different than anything he's ever had. Yeah, it is very nice. And it's got what is it called?
Trail Sport?
Yeah.
Trail Sport?
So it's the Trail Sport. So it's got the orange
Pops is right in
outline
style
on everything with Trail Sport written all over the car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My dad likes to, he'll do certain things for himself, and when it comes to his car, he likes to maybe get a little bit more perks for himself.
Yeah. Look, me being in the car business, I love cars, but I know how bad of an investment they are. So I keep it simple. You know what I mean? I keep it simple. I'm not rich enough to be buying depreciating assets yet. So I got a brand new car. I hit the button, that thing turns on. I know it's gonna get me. It looks good. I got a sunroof, heated seats, and all that good stuff. So hey, as long as it gets me point A, point B, I ain't tripping.
If you had to choose any Honda vehicle right now, which one would you take off the lot today?
You know what? That new Passport is sexy.
Okay.
The new Passport Trail Sport Elite. I get it. I actually, so sadly, I was going to show one the other day. Yeah. And I got in it and I was like, I want this thing. I said, and I drove it across the street and I kept thinking about it. And then they didn't buy it. And I was like, but I used to work at Chevy, so there was plenty of times where I'd sell Tahoes and Corvettes and stuff like that. I'd be like, man, I want this thing.
I will say that I want a Camaro only because I want to get a yellow one with black stripe, and I want to believe that if I talk to it nicely, it'll turn into Bumblebee. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to believe that.
Okay.
And I want Honda to get their own transformer.
That would be sweet.
I want to see a Honda transformer out there.
You gotta get you a Type R.
But I've been a CRV guy.
You gotta get you a Type R just for fun.
Okay. All right.
You know how to drive stick?
I'd have to learn, yeah.
I'll teach you.
Yeah.
Once you get it on
I'd
the
have
first,
to
you're
learn.
good.
I feel like I need to learn how to
Figure it
drive
out.
stick because I've watched enough movies and TV shows about zombies, and I feel like the way that Americans are right now, some of them, I need to be prepared for the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Just to know how to drive stick.
Hey, look.
So I can walk up on a car and jump in it and get out of there.
Being back in BVille, I had a friend of mine. His dad had this old Chevy Silverado regular cab that he used to drive that he gave to my boy, and it was stick shift. And I would always bust him up talking about the car. So long story short, I ended up learning how to drive a stick shift on that vehicle there. So once I got in the car business, it was pretty simple. Because you wouldn't believe how many salespeople don't know how to drive a stick shift car, or even put it in the first gear to just let it roll across the street.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's a funny thing because when you walk into a dealership, It's like you hope they know, like they're supposed to know more than the average bear, right?
Yeah, and then you get up by a person that doesn't even know how to move the car. So, whatever.
I feel like if I'm showing a car, I better know how to drive it.
That would be a good rule of thumb. It's kind of weird when people walk up to me and ask me to go get a car for them so they can show it to a customer.
Yeah.
I always tell them, listen, if you can't drive it, you can't sell it.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. I do like that. I respect it. So with that being said, Malik Burks here of BVille history, running back for C.W. Baker, here at Pizza Man on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and also connected to another great partner of Wake Up Call, which is Great Lakes Honda City, our exclusive studio partner. We're going to play rapid fire. So you and I can ask each other any question, any topic, anything in the world. Doesn't have to be football, doesn't have to be sports. You get to ask me the first question.
What is one thing nobody knows about you? Like a hidden talent, not like a secret.
Well, I do a lot of impressions, but people know that.
Wait. Now we got to get one. I want your best. Whoever you do a best impression of, I want to see it.
So there's a lot of different impressions that I do. And they are an eclectic group of different voices. So...
Like who? Come on.
So
give me a couple people.
So I'll do my Mickey impression.
Okay. Who else you got? You got Mickey? Who else?
I got Mickey, Trump, Bane from
Nah,
Batman.
I want to hear Trump. Nah, you got to do Trump. Because if you do the hands like him too, because he moves his hands like this, you got to do the Trump.
I always say, like, Clinton was hit the button, and then Bernie is the roller coaster, and then Trump is the conductor of the orchestra.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's very...
Guys, I'm so happy to be here. It's totally great to be here in Central New York with Malik Burks, good friend, very good friend of mine. Sold me a beautiful car. He's a wonderful person. And honestly, I was going to make him my VP, but J.D. Vance got to me first. I'm sorry. I'm very, very sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
I love it. That was great.
Thank you.
That was great.
So, yeah.
I thought I was with
When people hate him, they still want to hear the impression.
Still want to hear it.
Yeah. People love him or hate him, they want to hear it. But the Mickey Mouse one...
I'm no way.
Yeah.
I think he's a funny guy.
The Mickey one is like, I used to work at Disney, and I could never do the Mickey impression. And then like 3 years into trying to do it, it just worked. I did it when I was at PhilharMagic. Minnie came up on the loudspeaker, and she said something, and I went, "Oh boy, who's my pal?" And it just kind of came right out.
That was definitely Mickey right there.
And so I've been like asked to leave voicemail, like have somebody like do their voicemail for them, and
in Mickey's
voice, or talk to like my nieces, my nephews.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, I think we've reported that there's at least 47 that I do.
Okay, so your sister or somebody says, "Hey, Dan, yo, it's my daughter's birthday. You gotta call her. I need Mickey on the phone."
Yeah, Mickey, Stitch, Elmo. Bane I like because Bane is ridiculous, but like Kim Jong-un, we do Bill Clinton, Bernie Sanders.
Got a few good ones.
Yeah, Arnold. It's a little bit I'll do Venom from Spider-Man, but there's a lot of like...
Arnold's got to be a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot of... That one gets you going. But yeah, you got to gurgle a little bit.
Yeah, gurgle a little bit.
But the Bane I love because for some reason I've made Bane into like a comedian. So it's kind of like doing Sean Connery with a muzzle on. And that's because, Sean Connery has that voice. So Bane talks like this and he's very emotional. So like when I do the Bane voice, I don't know why, but I've made him a really funny guy. And so he'll come onto the show, and in the moment I'll just have him tell jokes as the guy who also broke Batman's back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Dang, I didn't know you could do impressions.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
47 at least.
I was expecting you were going to tell me you could like play some like cool instrument or something.
No, I do need to learn how to play my guitar, but I don't know that yet.
Okay, all right.
I do know. Okay, so I will say this. I've never played the piano before, but I look like I know what I'm doing, and people have heard it and told me that it sounds good. I have never been trained on the piano.
I can do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star.
I can just mess around with it. I don't even know. I'm just whatever's in my mind.
I'll twinkle twinkle you to death. I'm no Stevie Wonder though.
All right, fair enough. By the way, there was a moment where who was it? Was it George Bush that waved to Stevie Wonder and he waved back?
Get out.
And
he got caught on camera doing it too, huh?
and he got, I think it was, who was it? There was somebody accepting an award. It was, I think, Lady Gaga or somebody that said something, and then like he reacted as if he saw her in the moment. So all I'm saying is, if Stevie's been doing this to get women for like 50 years, it has been the longest fake that anybody has ever done. It is the deep fake of like a century.
I won't lie, that's kind of admirable if he's been doing it that long. He's really the GOAT.
Stevie, he's another good one in music. But let's stay with music.
Yeah.
So you could go on tour with any three musical talents, either bands, groups, individuals. What three, living or dead, would you tour with?
All right, so I'm a new country fan, right? Okay. And it's gonna probably sound cliche, but I definitely want to go. I would go with Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite. Yeah.
Morgan Wallen. Biggie.
Morgan Wallen, Biggie.
Without Puff though. No Puff.
Do you think that now with everything coming out about Diddy, do you think that Diddy was involved in the murder of Notorious B.I.G.?
I don't know. Probably, but Puff ain't with us there. So I'm with Biggie and the Locks.
So I got a joke about Puff though.
Yeah.
So you realize like who's dyeing their hair and what people really look like when they go to court or they gotta go to jail because they got nobody there to like do all their product and stuff.
He put the Beijing all in his hair.
So you know what I call him? I said it must be interesting to interview Morgan Freeman's father. That's what I say now about it. Because that man looks very different.
That's funny. So, all right, so my last person,
Morgan Wallen, and who else?
My last person, it'd have to be Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
That would be, because I never got to see him in person.
Yeah. In person. That's another impression that I do as well.
You got Michael?
I do Michael's. So I got it from watching Chris Tucker, and Chris was like, he was at the filming of the music video for Rock With You, or not okay. Rock With You. It was not Rock With You. It was the one where he was like,
I know which one you're talking about.
And he was like, Chris, what are you doing? What are you doing, Chris? He's like, stop doing that. And the whole thing where he's like, you can't get that girl, Michael. He's like, I can get the girl. And he's like, I bet you never land. You can't get her. He's like, oh, watch me. So, but it's always like a very soft. And then when I'm Prince, I won't say any words. I just call up my friends and I make noises.
Prince?
Yeah. I just go, oh, that's it. I hang up the phone. Oh. That's it.
Just ad lib.
The most beautiful girl in the world. You can literally not do words and just make noises to that song. And just like of his voice.
Yeah.
When I first heard that song, I said to my parents, I said, who's the girl that's with Prince in the song? And my mom and my dad sat in a car and they were like, I think it's just him. And I said, but no, like seriously, because you heard him say like, baby, I love you. And then you heard, the most beautiful child. And there's like, who is that?
He had like three different voices on that boy.
Oh, but that's my favorite Prince song of all time. Most beautiful girl in the world. Not Purple Rain, not anything else. It's that song.
Okay.
Because I feel like it's mine. Because nobody else ever picks that song.
Really loves that song?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, call up one of your buddies and just, ow. Just do
they gonna think somebody stole my phone.
So.
All right. So look. So, yeah. Are you a sneaker guy?
I am very much. So if my mother is watching right now, she'll come in the house and go, how many sneakers you got? Because I got a corner in my house that you can't see when you walk in, but like all my sneakers are really nicely lined up, but they're also out of the way. But it's not all of them. It's like my favorites get to be put out.
Okay. Mine too.
But it's a little ridiculous right now.
So your favorite sneaker, past, present, whenever?
Oh man. So I really like Shaq back in the day, the hypnotic ones.
I thought you were gonna tell me the kamikazes.
The ones where you like stare at the black and whites and it look like you get hypnotized.
Yep.
So I just bought Shaq's new sneakers.
Okay.
So I got some new ones, but I like those back then. I like the Damon Stoudemire ones that look like liquid, that were black and white.
Okay.
That was back in the day. The right now, so I don't even know what these ones are called, but I got different. So I call these my Venoms, my black and whites. But I have the same sneaker that's blue, green, and orange, and then I got the ones that are yellow, orange, what is it? Blue, green, and orange, and then there's the yellow, green, and purple. Or no, I'm sorry, yellow, orange, and purple. And then I got ones that look like the Flash, which somebody was like, oh, those are the Hyper Dunks. They look like the Durants. I'm like, listen, I'm a little kid. They look like the Flash.
Right.
So I bought them because they're yellow and red.
Hey, sometimes we don't even buy things based on what we know.
I
We
buy
just
it based
buy
on what
we
I
like.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to throw it back to you. Favorite sneaker of all time?
My favorite sneaker of all time.
Yes.
I've always loved the Bread 11s.
Okay. Why?
My favorite colors are black and red, so that's partially why.
Okay.
But that patent leather is just like, it's just a beautiful shoe. That's my favorite Mike shoe.
Okay. I do have my first mics I ever got are orange, and they're like all orange white on the bottom. So they're like my Syracuse sneakers.
Okay.
But I got them just because I wanted orange sneakers. It had nothing to do with
It
Mike.
had nothing to do with Mike.
But I'm happy that I did it.
It had something to do with the Qs?
Yeah.
All right, so you was rapping the Qs then?
Yeah, very much so.
All right.
All right, so what's your next question for me?
Did you play any sports when you were in college? Or when you were in high school?
So I did. The sport I played most of my life was basketball, and I got recruited D3 because all 5'8" of me can shoot.
You're just a shooter.
I'm a shooter, shorter, but I'm a shooter. Yeah.
Could you jump though?
Yes. I'm always a guy who can jump. Keep in mind, I got that Italian Hispanic blood. We got that energy.
Okay, all right.
We got that hip movement. So I never was like fumbling on my feet. I was always
used to show up like, what's the name? What was that guy name that starred in the White Man Can't Jump movie? What's that guy's name?
I
You ever seen that movie?
So I'm a movie
Wesley
guy,
Snipes
and I have never.
That guy's face is all in my head, but I can't remember his name.
But no, I can jump because most of the people I played against were taller than me, so I would like learn you, and anticipate you.
Yep.
So my buddy James, he's like a head taller than me. So when we were out there on the court, we practiced together so much. So I would just watch him, and as soon as he would go, as I knew he was going up, I would take off, so that I could block him before he got to his full release of his shot.
Yep.
So I had to learn how to do stuff like that.
You just played it to your advantage. That's all.
No, but I could jump. 100%.
Right.
Spider-Man's my favorite character, so I better be able to jump.
Okay.
And I still, like, to this day, people will catch me, like, I will challenge myself to jump and hit things.
Okay.
It doesn't matter where I am.
Oh.
I'm just all about it. I like being a little bit of...
I gotta be a little... Listen, the most I do is go to the gym and get a little crazy, but I gotta treat myself like a fine diamond nowadays, man. I can't be getting hurt.
I still like to be adventurous, for sure. My question back to you, if Pizza Man had a dish called the Burks, what would be on the dish?
Oh, man. Probably be some pasta. Probably be a little bit of lobster in there with a little bit of Calabrian peppers in there with some some creaminess going on, a little bit of cheese, something like that.
All right, little spicy lobster pasta dish with some Calabrian. Now
some peppers in there.
I got some Calabrian blood in me, so I can respect that you said Calabrian.
Yeah.
They're known for their chilies and for their honey.
Right.
So what's your last question for me?
My last question. Who's your favorite interview? Favorite interview of all time?
So on Wake Up Call, we've had over 5,000 guests. And we've interviewed actors, actresses, writers, illustrators. So honestly, I'm going to say that the person that I had like my wow moment, that I had to like stop breathing, was talking to the man who created Darkwing Duck. Like one of my favorite childhood characters.
Okay.
The girl I was with at the time, I finished the interview, it was pre-recorded, and so I finished the interview, and I was like, babe, I just talked to Tad Stones, who created Darkwing Duck, and she just walked by, and I was like, we're gonna probably have to break up.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't live in that, but I mean, I've interviewed Boeheim and Coach K and Roy Williams and Tom Izzo, Nick Saban,
I know you got a
Dabo
long list.
Sweeney.
You got a long
Yeah,
list.
but like talking to Dabo Sweeney about God, that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was fun for me.
He's very moving.
Oh
When
yeah.
he speaks,
I waited 2 years to talk with him about God. So
Yeah, he's very moving. I like his vibe through the camera.
yeah, I love that. I feel like he has not lost who he is,
Right.
even though he's been at the top of plenty of mountains. My question back to you, Malik: if you took over my show tomorrow, and it was Wake Up Call with Malik Burks, who are your 3 guests that you would have on the show, and why?
At one time?
Yeah, so you're going to do a show with 3 guests.
Okay.
Who are the 3 guests?
My 3 guests. I'd probably pick Prime. 'Cause I love Prime.
All right, Dion.
Um,
Also on my list.
Just because we in the Q's, Fran Brown.
All right.
Just because we in the Q's.
Had a nice sit-down fireside chat with him, so all right.
And then Coach Sanfilippo.
All right. I like that. I think Dion, Sanfilippo, and
He'd be
Fran
the
Brown,
headliner.
I feel like they would have a really interesting
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. I feel like that'd be a great even with Coach. I think we'd all have a real good conversation.
Now, I think Coach would definitely. I feel like Fran and Dion would like really sit and appreciate what Coach Sanfilippo had to say.
No, 100%. 100%. I feel like they'd all just have that. That'd be a great conversation right there.
Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should
see
do
if we
that.
make that happen.
Yeah.
See if we got. I know two out of the 3. We can figure
Yeah.
something out.
I've had 2 out of 3 on the show. I haven't had Dion on the show yet, but I'd like to have Neon Dion on the show for sure.
Yeah.
So before he was Prime, he was Neon. So he's had his nicknames back in the day, and he was people forget he was a Falcon. He was a Falcon. He was a Niner. He's a
that's where
Cowboy, and he was a
drafted to the
Redskin.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Yep, he got drafted to the Falcons. Then he went to Cowboys.
Yeah,
Then he went to 49ers. Then he
and
went
ended
what?
up a
To
Redskin
Ravens?
for like a minute.
He went to the Ravens too.
In the end of the end. Yeah.
The end of the end.
So, but there was a time where he was getting paid by the Cowboys and the Redskins at the same time.
I know he wasn't mad about that.
No, not at all. So, with that being said, for Malik Burks here, Baldwinsville Bees history, appreciate you. I'm happy that we got to celebrate you here tonight at Pizza Man. 6,117 yards, over 50 touchdowns, over 300 points scored for BVille. So congratulations to you. And I would ask people that are here to give you a round of applause to celebrate the community here, show you some love here again. So.
Thank you. Thanks, Dan, for having me on.
Of
Really
course.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
And best of luck to you in the future.
Well, and I got to tell you, like, when we put everything out on social media, the people that wanted to see this and wanted to interact with this, it definitely showed that you have left a legacy of positivity and building relationships. So I thank you for that, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
And shout out to Juju. Much love to him.
Much
And
love, my baby boy.
now to your buddy right here
And my boy Mims.
for
Josh Mims.
wearing the Raptor hat. Even though he's not a fan and he just did it for the outfit and for the drip tonight, we're gonna pretend there's 2 Raptors that are in the building today.
There's 2 Raptor fans in the building
Yeah.
today.
And by the way, what better ally to have than a Raptor if it was like real life situation?
True.
So
That's very true.
everybody needs to go see Jurassic World.
I saw
Rebirth.
the
It's coming out July 2nd.
the trailer for it.
Midnight showing.
Yep.
So, and I did say, I was like, I want to be in one of these movies where they show Chris Pratt talking to the Raptor, and then you see me pull up riding on one of the Raptors, and I look at Chris Pratt and I go, oh, you can talk to him? That's cute. And then I go to my Raptor, I'm like, hey, Bessie, let's go. And then she takes off. That's what I
You
want.
just fly off with the Raptor.
Yeah, that's what I want. Like, you can talk to him, but have you ridden one
But
yet?
have you rode it?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Love
with that being said, wake up call here, Baldwinsville Bees every single month, showing love to the bees, showing love to our community, born and raised and proud to be. For Malik, for myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, and for everybody here at Pizza Man, thanks to the Delia family. Everybody get home safe, enjoy your pizza and wings, and as we always say, God bless, no stress, do your best.